Hello, my fellow carbon printed meat golems just waiting to break down. This is your host, the Furious Nevermind. A very merry unbirthday to you all. Before I get started, I plan on getting a call from my mom. She said she was going to call me from jail. It cost me $5 a pop, okay? We get 20 minutes. It goes by like really quick. But I'm really excited about that. I don't know if you can tell. Nobody cares about me. My dad, like every time I tried to be nice to him, it just blew up in my face or worse. I don't know if you've seen my video, Little Sister No More, but last time he was going to cut me with the machete. I mean, it's like I would give him a hug and he would just look at me like, get away, vermin. And then my youngest brother, or my younger brother, either one, they would be treated well, and my dad would have their friends over and everybody's having a good time, and I walked through and it's like, oh, it's him. And it was just like, what did I do? You know, and I raised his kids and kept them safe while he was in prison and whatever. Yeah, they were my brothers, but it's just like, I'm forgotten, okay? And so my mom actually pretends to care about me, or does. Even like, I give her money, so I'm kind of paying her to care about me, but it seems genuine. Like, alright, some of y'all's gonna be able to know what I mean by that, which is to say something's better than nothing, I guess. So I'm still the forgotten Furian, don't worry. But anyway, I care about her. Like, if anyone who I love, it's my twin brother who's dead and him, or I mean her, right? So yeah, so I'm kind of excited about that, even though I can't see her and whatever. But alright, I wanted to mention that because I got squishy feelings going, and so I figure I ought to mention it because I got all these chemicals and whatnot. Stupid oxytocin, I'm mad at you. Okay, so let's see. So this video will be, oh, like I said, a very merry birthday to you all. Just in case that didn't sink in. This video will be about many things, but one of them is the moral paradox, alright? That's the primary thing. A situation in which moral imperatives clash without clear resolution is a moral paradox. A type of conundrum, or this type of conundrum, pertains to that which will immediately follow, as well as the overarching theme and ladder paradox within this upload. Now, I'll be responding to Redshift's videos, 3 of them actually, but mostly his most recent one, especially with this ordeal surrounding Alt MGTOW, or Alt the Immortal MGTOW, as I like to call him. As for the Israeli government, people, or military being psychotic, according to Redshift, I cannot say. However, Muslims, over half of whom are severely inbred, according to the Cousin Marriage in Islam Wikipedia, Muslims often attack Christian, atheist, Jew, and non-Muslim alike. I've actually had it happen to me. Of course, I'm in Oklahoma, so it's like, they're rare, but they crazy eye me. You know, look at me all crazy, Habib, with your unibrow, because you're inbred. Okay, so they attack us indiscriminately, and I've heard them say some craziness, stuff that no Christian or even most atheists would say. They're just fine with all sorts of torture, and like, intentional kinds. So Muslims are. So whenever the Israelis shoot them, any other group on the earth, I would be like, no, I don't think so. But they're pushing. So push back. So they torture, disfigure, castrate, and kill all who won't convert to their satanic belief system, which is in favor of pedophilia, something else Redshift rails against. Muslims, or so-called Palestinians, them ain't Palestinians, okay? Those are the Philistines that were to be put to the sword, that the Jews are too lazy to put to the sword. And now they're coming back. So the Palestinians are Muslims, inbred Muslims. Like all women and colored people, especially, they discriminate against Caucasian men, right? And men in general, depending. And thus, if they're not Muslim. And thus, I will not defend them against their enemies, especially at their enemies' very border. I mean, they're coming up to my house talking to me crazy? I don't think so. It's alright. They want to throw rocks, that's their problem. So self-defense is a natural right. If the Israelis want to bust a cap, they can bust a cap. You said the following. Oh, but before I finish, I forgot to mention, maybe I put this elsewhere in my script or whatever. It's just like a thrown together thing, nothing serious. So, okay, a sling can go like, what is it, 150 feet. A rock thrown from a sling, which is very common. For them, culturally, stoning is like a Muslim, inbred Muslim thing. We got to stone everybody. So, or cut their this or that off. So stoning is like symbolic, like I spit upon you with this stone. And then so they get these slings and they'll throw a rock 150, I think it was either yards or feet, all right? And so the Israelis have issued special 22 rifles to shoot at them because their bean pellets only go like half that distance, all right? And they're non-lethal ammo. So they have to use something. And say a guy did get hit in the groin. Yeah. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of their female Israeli soldiers with their penis envy that was doing that. But either way, it's either get beamed in the head with a rock or shoot back with a 22. I mean, yeah, it's ugly. Yeah, it's wrong either which way, but that's what it needs to be, apparently. The following is from, now on to the rest of the subject of this video. The following is from the abstract for meta-analysis of the heritability of human traits based on 50 years of twin studies, because Redshift mentioned something about genes. Okay, I have a lot of genetics arguments to go over with him, but this is from the 50-year meta-analysis of twin studies. Despite a century of research on complex traits in humans, the relative importance of specific nature of the influences of genes and environment on human traits remains controversial. We report a meta-analysis of twin correlations and reported variance components for 17,804 traits from 2,748 publications, including 14,558,903 partly dependent twin pairs, virtually all published twin studies of complex traits, that's virtually all of them. Estimates of heritability cluster strongly within functional domains and across all traits. The reported heritability is 49%. For a majority, 69% of traits. The observed twin correlations are consistent with a simple and parsimonious model where twin resemblance is solely due to additive genetic variation. The data is inconsistent with substantial influences from shared environment or non-additive genetic variation. All right. So they've isolated genetics. This study provides the most comprehensive analysis of the causes of individual differences in human traits thus far and will guide future gene mapping efforts. All the results can be visualized using the MATCH web tool. Put a hyperlink in the description. Now, my twin brother just gave up on life, more or less, and I'm the opposite. So either he ignored his strong survival genes, or we don't have survival genes, he and I, or, more likely, you are wrong and such genes don't even exist, Ragnar the Redshift. So let's put this genetics argument to bed. You already have the evolution arm waving to employ. Okay, because you said something about having strong survival genes or something like that. So that's why you wouldn't want to kill yourself. No, that's an instinct. That's not a gene. It's not even an epigenetic feature. One-celled organisms have that same feature. So like I said, I suspect it doesn't exist. And if it does, it's more of a compulsion than a manifestation of genetics. So okay, just get at me. My twin brother did and I didn't. So does it exist or doesn't it? because it should be heritable, should it not? If we're both twins, identical genetics. So what's up? What is up? All right, about the things that you said in this upload, I think that they're very agreeable overall. So yeah, let's see. Okay, as for the commentary on hallucinogenics, I completely agree. I was born with LSD in my system along with my twin brother, and I smoked some LSD-laced cannabis unintentionally, and although I was tripping balls, I was like 16, and although I was tripping balls, it did alter my perspective, because I was only going on a bad trip, because I was expecting it to be weed, and then all of a sudden I just started, whoa, and I was it was a bad trip the whole time, but I learned from that bad trip, and it kind of made me a stronger person. So, about the other things you said in this upload, it was virtually entirely agreeable to me. I think that the second ex-wife was being vindictive toward Alt MGTOW and doxing him like hotcakes, although the idea of just saying, hey, I like the idea of just saying, hey, I'm a racist, deal with it or don't, in future employment interviews as a counter strategy. It sounds crazy, but I mean, come on, you're there begging them instead of them begging you. That's what's crazy. So I would just screw it. What are they gonna do? But hey, Redshift, I think what you're working on is, I think you're maybe an employer. If he can get someone to buffer, like, oh yeah, my most recent employer will tell you, yeah, he'll tell you for me or something, right? Like, he's got a crazy ex-wife, but he's a perfect, excellent worker, you know, and you may be younger than him, but they're not gonna know that. So, the thing that you said about tearing up over the possible death of Alt MGTOW reminded me of myself a few months before my brother died. My twin brother, best friend, Scott, at the age of 29, and I never gave up on him, okay? He might have kind of given up because I think he learned defeatism from my dad and drinking. And yeah, I mean, like, we would hug each other and kiss each other on the cheek, and I would tell him he loved me, and he would tell me he loved him, and I would sit by him, and he would sit by me, and just everything, right? We were just like bestest of best buddies on the one hand, but on the other hand, we would get in fist fights, and we would get in arguments, and we would all of that stuff, okay? And he, I think, also learned from my dad, besides defeatism and laziness, he may have picked up the old, definitely the drinking, but he may have picked up getting drunk and wanting to fight. Like, I don't know if it's the drinking or if it's a character flaw or if it's both, because I want to fight people, but I'm not stupid enough to go get my butt kicked. Like, why do you want to fight somebody that cares about you? That's stupid. So that just tells me to no. So basically, I lost a lot of respect for him after that, but it was only like once or twice. Right? And I was just like, you do not, because he, of all people, should know that I'm not the person you do that to. That's stupid. Animals aren't that stupid. And so I was just like, you know what, dude, you have gotten too drunk and too lackadaisical. But he drank himself to death not long after that. So slippery slopes, what can I say? But what do y'all think? Is it the drinking or is it the personality? I'm thinking it's the drinking, because yeah, he had anger problems, but he was never that stupid, you know? I think it's the drinking. The Bible says strong drink is a brawler, so Okay, so my dad used to beat and neglect me, and my mom left me when I was 2 years old, and I remember that very well, both of those. And not only do I remember it all, but I was permanently damaged thereby, so a lot of the stuff you said kind of hit a soft spot with me, I guess you could say, considering that I did all that I could for my twin brother before he died. One of my personal mottos is this: I won't hold back. So I agree with virtually everything you said in this video, especially about the trying to find a solution, right? Your upload, a solution or two for Alt MGTOW. Yeah, I like that one, all right? And I covered a few subjects indirectly that I'm about to talk about in Redshift Paradox 2, considering your upload, the ultimate form of dominance, and directly in Redshift Paradox 3, concerning your upload entitled Path of Evil. So this will be a somewhat redundant response to your more current upload called Informed Consent to Alt MGTOW, okay? Keep in mind, overall, you're doing great. If don't hold back, all right? The Bible says, I forget where it is, I'll leave a hyperlink. If a man does a thing, he is to do it with all his might, because there's no insert descriptors once you die, okay? There's nothing in the grave after that until you're resurrected. So do it with all your might. All right, Shifty Bear. You put out a rage rant on your upload called Informed Consent about men going their own way, being apathetic toward a man who is clearly being negatively affected by our perverse gynocentric system and culture, thus rendering the issues superficial for them, if not fake entirely, like you said, and removing any ethical or philosophical leg on which they might stand, barring their using ethical justice as a novel pursuit, as though male, especially Caucasian male, enslavement and suicide, 123 suicides a day, 85 of them are Caucasian males, so them using it as a pretty much a novelty, especially Caucasian male enslavement and suicide, as though it were just an ideologically charged game, okay? But they're wrong. They're dead wrong. Life is not a game. I've heard people say it is. They're wrong. I agree with your sentiment fully, and my actions back that up. I've sent Mr. Alt MGTOW a few comments. Although the sentiment does conflict with your ideas espoused in the uploads, the ultimate form of dominance, or at the very least, those found in the upload Informed Consent to a relative degree. Okay, so, or rather the path of evil, not Informed Consent. So the path of evil and what was the other one? Ultimate form of dominance. That is kind of conflicting. Okay, so either evil is the path to power, good is the path to power, or power is the path to power. However, whichever it may be, it is not the power that matters, as you pointed out, indirectly or even directly, but rather how we use it. Yes? Alright, so hit me up, Ragnar the Redshift. Is evil the path to power, or is being apathetic towards suicide true evil and wrong? Alright, the Hedgehog dilemma, or sometimes the Porcupine dilemma, is a metaphor about the challenges of human intimacy. It describes a situation in which a group of hedgehogs seek to move closer to one another to share heat during cold winter. They must remain apart, however, as they cannot avoid hitting one another with their sharp spines. Though they all share the intention of a close reciprocal relationship, this may not occur, for reasons they cannot avoid. Both Arthur Schopenhauer and Sigmund Freud have used the Hedgehog dilemma to describe what they feel is the state of individuals in relation to others in society. The Hedgehog's dilemma suggests that despite goodwill, human intimacy cannot occur without substantial mutual harm, and what results is cautious behavior and weak relationships. With the Hedgehog's dilemma, one is recommended to use moderation in affairs with others, both because of self-interest as well as out of consideration for others. The Hedgehog's dilemma is used to explain introversion and isolationism. There are bad days, and then there are legendary bad days. This is shaping up to be one of those.